Hi, how's it everybody? This is Luigi N, sometimes known as Honolulu. Okay, so what we're doing here is I'm answering some reviewer questions from Literary Titan. Excuse me. So these questions are about my Sorcerer's Prayer series, book 1, called Sacred Idol. Okay, my beloved daughter Sujung is going to read the questions nice and loudly. Thank you, Sujung. Go ahead.
Sorcerer's Prayer is a genre classic novel with elements of mystery, suspense, and cultural as well. Did you start writing with this in mind, or did this happen organically as you were writing?
Organically. I like that concept. That's pretty cool. Thank you, dear reviewer. In 2014, I was about to jump into the ocean off of Honolulu, Oahu, Hawaii, for a mile-long aquatic endeavor. That means I was going for a swim. Sorry, I'm very verbose. After having read all of the Dan Brown and James Rowland novels that I could get my hands on, while simultaneously attempting to get my virgin aquaponic garden business off the ground, I thought to myself, before I jumped into the water, I can write my own Hawaiian thriller. So that was the aha moment. And then I had to find a story. While engaging in literary research at the Hawaii State Public Library, examining numerous newspapers and letters from the 1800s, wicked old, I had to wear cotton gloves on my hands so that my hand oil did not soil the pages, the really ancient pages. Okay, and also, this is my science background. I had to use a chemical spatula. This is used to weigh chemicals. And what we did was we started from the back of the book and took the spatula and moved the pages over. And that was the best way not to break the pages. And the ink was kind of faded. The black ink was now kind of brownish purple. And there were some holes in the paper. So it was really cool looking at those things from the 1800s. So I learned about a Honolulu judge who relocated to the Big Island of Hawaii and started a religious cult. Wow. I thought to myself, that's got to be the story there. Okay. During a religious luau festival, luau means a party where they're eating lots of food and playing lots of music and hula dancing, 2 law officers were killed. Wow. I spun it off from there. It started off as a thriller and holistically or organically, as the reviewer called it, crossed over to other realms. The other realms, I've been told, are supernatural, horror, thriller, comedy, and the Hawaiian environment is also another genre, another character in the book, in the series. In addition, with my fun-loving persona, yes, quite often it's called immature, but I refuse to let Father Time manage my social affairs. I could not help but weave in an additional genre of humor. Also, the professional reviewers all agreed that the location, the Hawaiian culture and environment, is an auxiliary category of fiction. Yes. Okay, Sujang, next question, please.
Kavika is an interesting and well-defined character. What were some driving ideals behind his character development?
The driving ideals. Okay. For the most part, Kavika is an extension of myself. I was once a biology professor at a local Oahu college, and I fell in love with the life and culture that is Hawaii. I like to call it Hawaii Ne, my Hawaii. The character's adventurous, athletic, intellectual, and holistic interests were autobiographical in nature. Autobiographical, I said it. Okay, next, Sujang. Next question, please.
I enjoyed the mystery at the heart of this story. Did you plan the mystery before writing, or did it develop while writing?
Oh, did I mention that genre? Mystery? There's like 5 or 6 genres going on here. Let me think about that question. Initially, I did not utilize an outline, and the stories were molded on the fly. My pen was smoking. I would order a chai tea latte at Starbucks, take out my composition book and pen, and then compose with an impassioned longhand. Yes, my hand was all inked up. I could not write fast enough to stay ahead of the raging current of ideas and words. As numerous authors have previously stated, the book wrote itself. In these pandemic times and the overutilization of our binary friend, meaning the computer, I've started to dictate the evolving stories into my computer. It does speed up the process of creating a good yarn. However, the editing process is hellacious, pun intended. Next question, Milia Sujang. Sujang. Go ahead.
What is the next book that you are working on, and when will it be available?
I'm working on like 3 books at the same time here. Sorcerer's Prayer, Book 1, Sacred Idol, say that right, has finally attained the 5th edition polished status. How long did it take me to do that? About 6 years. So I reworked it, all the reviews, I got comments from different people, comment from Hawaiian people, friends from my school, and I put all those comments together. So this Sacred Idol Book 1 is part of a planned 5-book series, and that's actually a definition of a series, has to have at least 5 books, and I do have those planned, okay? It's interesting, I did some reading besides my books, yes, of course. Authors read outside of their genre. This was in science fiction. Have you ever heard of the author Orson Scott Card? He wrote the Ender's Game, and it's interesting that he would loop back in expert fashion and employed the supporting characters of Ender's Game to create numerous science fiction ancillary works. Bean is an example. He got like 5 books out of Bean, 5 books out of Ender. So it just goes on and on. Okay, so I'm currently initiating a similar scenario with the Sorcerer's Prayer procession to create additional limbs of the burgeoning ensemble. What? Who wrote this stuff? Burgeoning ensemble. Cool. I just finished amending Book 2, which is also in this 5th edition and polished form, yes. Book 2, Part 1 is called Precious Blood, and Part 2 of Book 2 is entitled Honor and Majesty. It was books 2 and 3, but I combined them because they were quite similar. 20 years in difference between the first part and the second part in the 1800s. Okay, so Book 2, Part 1 is called Precious Blood, and Part 2 is entitled Honor and Majesty, which means the judge and the king. Okay, this 2-part novel takes the judge back to his 19th century commencements of immortality and Hawaiian kupuna sorcery. Ooh. The novel also explains why he is hell-bent for revenge in Book 1. So it follows up Book 1, Sacred Idol. The professional reviewers love Book 2. I have to pat myself on the back here. And you can read the words of praise on my website, sorcerersprayer.website. Yes, that's what it's called, sorcerersprayer.website. More? Sorry, I gotta cut my throat here. I currently possess extensive notes for books 3 and 4. In the 3rd novel of the Sorcerer's Prayer series called Strego Scarpelli. Strego means witch or warlock. Scarpelli is one of my family names from the past, a long time ago, from Italy. The professor time travels back to the Middle Age Venice or Venetian Inquisitions. In book 4, named Eutropos, tropical utopia meets its antithesis. What? Antithesis. Antithesis. Priestess Kalehua, pronounce it right, Luigi, is the name of the last novel of the planned Sorcerer's Prayer series. These nocturnal ruminations are currently on the proverbial back burner for book 5. Okay? Yes, esteemed readers, Luigi N Spring is back on that caffeinated and literary galloping horse, serving his apprenticeship as pandemic writer. Not to be confused with the Beatles song Paperback Writer. Matter of fact, I could see someone having a go at updating those lyrics. Pandemic writer. I won't sing. I will not sing. I am currently a high school science teacher, and during these days of lockdowns and paranoia, yes, paranoia, that people are dying, the weekdays have me bouncing off the proverbial walls in my barren classroom. Students safely ensconced in their quarantine cribs. Cribs meaning their homes. Okay. The experts say that the writing process is therapeutic. I wholeheartedly agree, with my sanity mostly intact. Okay, next question, Sujong. You have any more questions there? Okay, well, that's about it for the interview for book 1. Look for that author interview questions for book 2 and a website near you. Aloha. Shoots, brah.